God. Jesus Christ, I didn't think we were going to get there. Oh my gosh, let me be clear. Proud Boys are freaking white supremacists. Neo-Nazis are too. And this president, who loves to coddle white supremacists, has decided that they should be given checks. The reasons that I pointed to those particular organizations is because you can go and read, I don't know how many articles, as Dr. Swain wants people to read up. I'm gonna be clear, I've read my fair share of books. I do have my fair share of degrees. It is clear that neo-Nazis as well as Proud Boys joined in on January 6th. Yet this slush fund that they keep talking about is specifically to give them money. So how dare this majority sit here and try to lecture?
What should have been a simple yes or no question turned into one of the most uncomfortable moments of the hearing. Watch how the room reacts when lawmakers and witnesses clash over a question many thought had an obvious answer. Let's dive in.
It is so hard to sit here and listen to this. That's one reason I watched the majority of this and didn't actually sit in this room, because I'm sure my faces would have told everything that I was thinking. Is there anyone that finds it odd? Well, can we start here? I'm gonna start with the entire panel. Are the Proud Boys a white supremacist organization? Yes or no? Starting with Ms. Wiley.
It is my view they are.
It depends on how you define it. I have a book.
Okay, never mind.
It
Next.
depends on how you define it.
It's a yes or no. Proud Boys, how they define themselves. Are they white supremacists, yes or no?
I have not read a description of how they define themselves.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not on their mailing list, I don't know.
So are you only on the mailing list of?
I'm not like the
supremacists,
SPLC, I don't
or-
fund organizations that I'm in.
Oh, it just seemed like you were saying because you haven't received their mail, you only received the mail of white supremacists. But go ahead, last witness.
No, they're not white supremacists.
And you know what? I do believe that y'all believe that. Let's try another one. Neo-Nazis, Miss Wiley.
Well, yes.
Nazis is in their name. Neo-Nazis, Dr. Swain.
Is the question still about the Proud Boys, or is it about the
Neo-Nazis.
Neo-Nazi-
We have moved on. Neo-Nazis.
Neo-Nazis are hate groups, and I have a book, 2002.
Okay, thank you so much.
About
So we're
hate
gonna-
groups
so-
that I suggest that you all read.
I'm reclaiming
It's a
my
long
time.
book.
I'm reclaiming my time. Neo-Nazis. Are they white supremacists?
Neo-Nazis, are they white supremacists?
Yes or no?
What's that?
Yes or no?
They're certainly anti-Semitic, which I would join with any member of the Democratic Party. Mr. Nadler earlier was talking about standing up for the Jewish
reclaiming
people.
my time.
I'd be happy
Next.
to do that.
Yes, they're white supremacists.
Woo, thank God. Jesus Christ, I didn't think we were going to get there. Oh my gosh, let me be clear. Proud Boys are freaking white supremacists. Neo-Nazis are too.
This hearing was absolutely unbelievable to watch. A simple yes or no question was asked. Are the Proud Boys a white supremacist organization? Some witnesses answered directly. Others immediately started searching for loopholes, definitions, technicalities, and excuses. And that's exactly what made this moment so revealing. When groups have been linked to extremist rhetoric, political violence, and white nationalist associations, many Americans expect a clear, straightforward answer, not a lengthy debate over semantics. What stood out wasn't just the disagreement, it was how difficult it seemed for some to give a direct response. Then the conversation moved to neo-Nazis, a movement built around one of the most hateful ideologies in history, and the answers became even more complicated. That's why the frustration in the room and online was so obvious. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or apolitical, condemning white supremacy and neo-Nazism should be an easy line to draw. No hesitation. What made this exchange go viral was exactly that, a simple moral question turning into an uncomfortable semantic debate. For many viewers, the reluctance to answer spoke louder than the words themselves. And that's why this moment is getting so much attention.
And this president, who loves to coddle white supremacists has decided that they should be given checks. The reasons that I pointed to those particular organizations is because you can go and read, I don't know how many articles, as Dr. Swain wants people to read up. I'm gonna be clear, I've read my fair share of books. I do have my fair share of degrees. It is clear that neo-Nazis as well as Proud Boys joined in on January 6th. Yet this slush fund that they keep talking about is specifically to give them money. So how dare this majority sit here and try to lecture this organization about money? Now, we're not talking about tax-paying dollars as we are in that slush fund. But you're telling me that $2 billion in the same country that I'm sure some of y'all would struggle with whether or not the enslavement of black people was good or bad. I'm not even gonna go there and ask y'all the question because y'all struggle with defining that these people were white supremacists. But this country still hasn't thought that reparations made sense for black folk in this country. But at the same time, they've decided that people that are in organizations that are absolutely white supremacy organizations should get our tax dollars because they decided to tear apart or attempt to tear apart our democracy. They are being rewarded. These are people that went through our criminal justice system. When people on that side of the aisle claim that they love law and order, they went through it. They either entered pleas of guilty or they were found guilty. And this president, on day one, his priority was not around racism. It was around doing things like letting them go and now putting money in their pockets. We haven't had one hearing on white supremacy. Yet when we look at things like the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, the 9 worshipers who were murdered at the Mother Emanuel AME Church, the 23 people murdered in 2019 during a shooting at Walmart in El Paso, the 10 people murdered during the 2022 shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. All of these were murdered by white supremacists who were empowered by the Republican Party's racist rhetoric and policies. This is the same party that wants to drag us back to the Jim Crow era. Some say that there aren't poll taxes, and I guess it's because they're not listing the amount of money. But when you tell somebody that they've got to go and pay for something, say, like a passport that costs over $100 in order to be able to vote, that looks like a poll tax to me. Some of y'all need to read up on your history books, the very same ones that the Republicans have decided that people should not hear about because you don't want real history taught in our schools because you're afraid that it's going to hurt people's feelings to know that their ancestors were so savage that they would enslave black folk. You don't want them to understand why the 14th Amendment mattered then and it matters today. You don't want them to understand that when they draw these racist lines and tell black folk that they shouldn't have representation in this country, that it is against the Constitution. You want them to be ignorant so that they can sit up here and be your token for your men.
This extended clip of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is peak political theater, dramatic, emotional, and deeply revealing. Crockett passionately argues that the Trump administration's roughly $2 billion weaponization compensation fund is nothing more than a slush fund, rewarding white supremacists and January 6 participants, especially Proud Boys and neo-Nazis. She draws a sharp contrast with America's failure to deliver reparations for Black Americans, lists horrific white supremacist attacks, and accuses Republicans of wanting to drag the country back to the Jim Crow era. Her frustration is palpable, and her delivery is fiery. But let's cut through the rhetoric with honesty. First, the fund isn't a blank check for white supremacists. It aims to compensate individuals who claim they were unfairly targeted by the previous administration's DOJ and FBI, a concern shared by many who believe law enforcement was weaponized against political opponents. While some January 6 defendants have ties to extremist groups, painting the entire effort as a reward for neo-Nazis is a massive overreach. Not every participant was a Proud Boy, and not every Proud Boy is a card-carrying white supremacist. The group officially rejects that label, though it has attracted members with racist views. Crockett's point on condemning extremism is valid. Neo-Nazism deserves zero tolerance. But turning every policy disagreement into accusations of racism weakens the argument. Linking routine Republican policies to mass shootings and slavery rhetoric is classic guilt by association tactic that divides more than it clarifies. The reparations debate is complex and deserves serious discussion, not weaponization in a hearing. America has real racial wounds, but using them to block compensation for people who went through the criminal justice system risks undermining equal justice under law. What this clip truly exposes is how both sides talk past each other. Democrats see systemic racism everywhere. Republicans see selective prosecution and two-tier justice. The real losers. Regular Americans watching their leaders turn serious governance into viral gotcha moments. Strong condemnation of actual white supremacy is necessary, but turning policy disagreements into moral melodrama and historical whataboutism doesn't solve problems, it fuels the very division both sides claim to fight. This hearing wasn't about finding truth, it was about scoring points. And unfortunately, that's what much of Washington has become. What do you think? Should questions like these have simple, direct answers, or is the issue more complicated than it seems? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest political stories and debates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.